Hey guys, we can already tell with 100% precision if we should pull for the characters Ezio and Cassandra from the Assassin's Creed collaboration, or if we should skip these characters completely and only take the freebies that we get from this collaboration. So let's talk about it. If you just want a quick and short answer, should you pull for these characters or not? No, you should not pull for these characters. Those are 100% skips. No matter if you are new or how new of a player you are, or if you are day one player, none of this stuff matters. It doesn't even matter how many resources, how many unilogs or anything of that you have, you skip these characters 100% guaranteed. Let me tell you why exactly that is. First, you have to understand that Ezio is a way better example than Cassandra, because Cassandra is even way more of a skip than Ezio, but more onto her a little bit later. Now, the first thing that you have to understand about Ezio is that Ezio is, of course, not the best in slot in any team. The thing that makes him interesting is that he is very, very versatile. More versatile even than a lot of other characters in this game. He can be played in the follow-up team. As you can see here, he gets a follow-up attack and his ultimate counts as a follow-up attack. He can be played in the ultimate archetype team. He will deal more damage. With his ultimate, he will unlock his ultimate faster. And he can be played in the poison team. He will inflict poison and he will deal more damage based upon how many poison stacks are onto the opponent that he will attack. And now, let me tell you something one more time. I've talked about this multiple times already in the past, and that is that slottable characters lose a whole bunch of value, pretty much all of their value, if I'm being 100% honest with you, in version 2.8, because in version 2.8 the top 3 teams are around archetypes that evolve around very, very specific mechanics. There is no character that you can slot into the Blood Tide team. There is no character that you can slot into the Dynamo team, and you can already see this for quite a while right now on global, that you cannot slot anyone into the Impromptu team. If you want these teams to function properly, you have to have these very specific characters for these teams, for the archetype, because again, these archetypes, they evolve around very, very specific mechanics, and there are not a lot of characters in this game that can fulfill the needs that this very specific mechanic needs. You know, you can see this, as I said, with Impromptu. You have to have characters, all 4 characters that you play in the Impromptu team, they have to evolve around the mechanic Impromptu. Otherwise, the team as a whole would become a whole lot worse, if not even completely unplayable. And that is the exact problem that slottable characters as a whole have from version 2.8 and onwards. Because again, there are no slottable characters that you can play in the top 3 teams, and Ezio falls into this exact same category. And with Ezio it goes even deeper than what I just explained, because let's face it, here we have the follow-up team. I mean, look at this team already. Look how stacked it already is. We have everything here. We have Gio, we have Pickles, we can play Liang in this, we can play 37 in this, we can play Anionala in this, and there are probably more characters that I forget about right now that we can also play in this. You know, the point is, like, we don't need any other character right now to place in this follow-up team. The follow-up team is already more than filled. Like, we have so many characters synergizing with follow-up attacks there's absolutely no need for Ezio to do the same thing as well. You know, the team is done, the team is full and already extremely strong. Now, to immediately shut the argument down that I can already hear. Like, oh Straw, you don't know the numbers. What if Ezio outclasses Gio and becomes the new main? If you seriously believe that, then please send me some of this copium and hopium that you are sniffing, because bro, that shit must be hella good. In all seriousness though, like a collaboration character that will never see a return ever, will not outclass a limited character that just had her rerun and got an amazing garment. It is not gonna happen. Then we can look, of course, we can look further at this here. This is the ultimate archetype team. Also slot Ezio in. Look at how stacked this roster is as well. We have Melania as the main DPS. We can play Centurion as the main DPS. We can even play Noir as the main DPS. No need. Melania is way too good. She provides something so unique, and she's the only character in this game that provides that. She's absolutely irreplaceable. Then look at the support slot where you can play Getian, you can play Muldir, you could play Lopara in the slot, and it's the same thing as for the follow-up team. If you look at this team, if you look at the roster of characters, how good and how many there are, then we don't need another character that fills any spot in this team. He will never be as good as a Recoleta. He will never be on the level of a Centurion. It is, you know what I mean? It is just nonsense to have a character like that in this game. And yeah, to make this complete, we can also look at the poison team. You know what Willow is all about. You know that Willow converts poison stacks into a more powerful poison stack that is called Hexbane, that is unique, and the poison team absolutely needs that, or you can't play poison. That's the matter of the fact. The same scenario occurs for Tuesday. She's the only character in this game that passively makes it so that the poison stacks, that poison is actually able to critical hit. That is an absolute must have, and you cannot play the poison team without Tuesday for that reason either. And now, yeah, Ezio is of course not a healer, so he won't replace Sotheby there either. It's impossible, you know. That leaves him with the support slot. Okay, I can see that. He applies poison, he profits from all this poison that the other characters in his team spread to deal even more damage. Okay, that's actually pretty solid. The problem with that though is that we already have Hisabeth. Also, like, probably will even deal more damage or be like, or at least on par with Ezio. Maybe a little bit worse, you know, you never know. But then we have Kakania. Like, the point with Hisabeth is it wouldn't be worth it if you have Hisabeth and play her in a poison team. Even if Ezio might be a little bit better in terms of damage output for this team, it wouldn't be worth to invest your resources now into a character right before the 2nd anniversary that just is slightly better than Hisabeth. Like, that wouldn't be worth it, especially not for the poison team, you know? It's just not high enough and not good enough of a team to make this investment into Ezio worthwhile. That's the point here. Then we have Kakania, who adds sustain to this team, which is very, very valuable. It is very, very good sustain. That is something that Ezio can't do, right? And again, same reason as to why you put Ezio in his team. Jessica fulfills the same reason, and that is damage output. And we get Jessica's Euphoria update in version 2.8. And this means two things. First of all, the likelihood of you already having Jessica is pretty high. And you can obtain her for even cheaper than you would be able to obtain Ezio, because Jessica will be part of the Euphoria banner in version 2.8. So you see, the investment here, even for the poison team, is not justified by any stretch of the imagination. And then again, let me repeat myself that the 2nd anniversary is right after this assassination collaboration, and slottable characters lose a whole bunch of their value because they cannot be slotted into the top 3 teams and even into the top 4 and 5 teams, as we just figured out. You know, we just looked at that. And then now you would want to invest roughly, and if you get really unlucky, then you have to invest 100 Unilogs in order to obtain Ezio, and you wanna spend 100 Unilogs right before the new game-breaking best main DPS in the entire game Nautica drops. I don't think you wanna do that. Even after, and yeah, there are of course a lot of good and valuable characters in the Euphoria banner that you would or will even have to invest some Unilogs into as well. Don't forget about that. And since Nautica is the new the best character in the entire game, nothing comes close to her overall value, so you would even want to consider getting portraits for her as well, if the resources allow you to do that. And then moving forward away from the 2nd anniversary into version 3.0, we get a character like Sharon, which if you play Dynamo, that's a must pull, that's an irreplaceable character there. So you see where this is going. There's no value. And in pulling for Ezio, of course, right? No matter where you look, do you look at the Assassin's Creed? Yeah, like, let's talk about it. Even if you are oblivious to everything around it and you only look at this assassinations collaboration, that and only that, even if you would do that, it's still not worth it to pull Ezio. Let me tell you why. Here it is. The reason is on your screen. There will be Euphoria updates for Marcus and Via, also Eternity, but she doesn't matter here. So you would be much better off to not pull for Ezio, but instead obtain Marcus. And if you don't have her, maybe even Via as well. They will be much better, way more future proof, and even cheaper than Ezio because they are part of the Euphoria banner. So you see, tons and tons of reasons everywhere you look to not pull for Ezio. You always have better options, you know, and even if you're a new player, I always recommend that you should focus on obtaining a main DPS first. That's the thing that I stress a lot to new players. You should never pull unless you have 140 Unilogs to 100% guarantee you get a character, and that character needs to be a main DPS, and that's the character you base your future pulls upon to build a team around that character, right? And Ezio isn't even that because there is another main DPS with Marcus that is much better and way more future proof and even cheaper, man. It's crazy actually how bad Ezio is. When I say all of this out loud, we're like, wow, actually, like if you pull for Ezio, goodbye your Unilogs. That will be a very bad decision. But I mean, you do you. You must be like Assassin's Creed, literally it has to be your favorite franchise of all time to justify pulling for this character. Like, I mean, you do you, right? I'm just telling you facts here. And yeah, there you go. Again, like even for new players, this thing, Ezio is not future proof. In the very next version, he will already be pretty much completely useless. He won't do anything for you. And there's even more, because these characters like Ezio, they are part of a collaboration that will never return. That's a one-time thing and that's unique. So we don't know if we will ever get characters that also belong to the archetype assassination. So what if we never get a character that also synergizes around and has this assassination thing? Then you will just be screwed completely, because this team will never be complete. It will never replace the 5-star Alexio, and it will never see a healer. So it's already a goodbye there. But there's more, because again, collaboration, unique, will never return. We don't know, and it is very likely to assume that we will not ever get Euphoria updates for these characters, because they are a one-time thing. Most people will not obtain these characters to begin with, so figuring out and working on a Euphoria update for these characters would be a time waste, you know? So we can't know this for sure, but what I'm telling you here is that those are risks. Very, very gigantic risks. If you pull for a character that is not future-proof at all, because you don't know if they will ever get a Euphoria update, and they are even now already in everything that they do heavily outclassed, alright, then you do you. Now let's go and move on and talk a little bit about Cassandra as well. Right, now talking about Cassandra, that won't take as long as with Ezio, because she is way less versatile and, all things considered, a much worse character than Ezio is. So the deal with Cassandra is that if you want to play her, right, then by far the best scenario that you can build for her is to play her in an assassination team, and for that you have to pull for Ezio as well, and you have to play her together with Ezio and Alexios. That is the huge problem. She works as a support for this team, and thanks to her ability that she's pretty much all about, that makes other characters that don't have assassination attacks, she makes those attacks count as assassinations. That's why she is very valuable, because then you have the ability to slot other characters in. For example, your healer, he will also, when he deals damage, the damage will count as an assassination. That is very valuable for this team. It's kind of a must-have. And also, you would have the potential to even replace Alexios from this team. You can get rid of the 5-star character and put in a damage dealer, a DPS character of your choice. Because if you have Cassandra, then you can make it so that his attacks count as assassinations. And while this is not something incredibly good, you know, for example, you couldn't play Cassandra in any team and then make this team all about assassinations, right? That's not how that works, yeah? That is not the extent of what Cassandra does. It's a tiny little bit quality of life, not a complete team overhaul for anything, okay? You have to understand that. That is extremely important, of course. Otherwise, Cassandra would be a must pull. But she's not. As I said, she's even worse than Ezio. So it would just build up a little bit of potential, and that's about it, you know. So should you pull for Ezio? No, absolutely no way. No matter how you look at it, that's a must skip. If you say, hey, Assassin's Creed is my favorite franchise of all time, Ezio is the best character ever created, I love this guy, I will pull no matter what anyone tells me, right? If that's your mindset, then you have to pull for Cassandra as well, because otherwise it's not worth it. Yeah, I explained everything about Ezio, and Cassandra is even more specific. If you pull for Cassandra, you have to keep in mind that you also have to pull for Ezio. Otherwise, Cassandra will not work and her value drops even more down, like flushes more down the drain that it already does. And you get Alexios for free at 5 stars, at 5 portraits. So yeah, there you go. So again, should you pull for these characters? Absolutely not. This whole Assassin's Creed collaboration is an entire skip. Only get the freebies and play the story, you know, obtain yourselves as many unilogs from this event as you possibly can. But the characters are must skip characters, no matter how you look at them. And that's it for the video, guys. I hope that was fun and informative. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate that. But until next time, don't forget to join the Discord server. Take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.